afternoon. This is iPulse Live today for April 11th, 2025. I'm Allison Wallace.
And I'm Swanson Gibson Jr. Thank you for joining us.
We have breaking news. A small plane crash in Boca Raton this morning. NBC6 South Florida reports all 3 people aboard the aircraft died, and a motorist was hurt in the crash of the Cessna 310. NBC6 also reports that Flight Radar 24 data showed that the aircraft appeared to be circling and was trying to turn back to the Boca Raton airport. Early reports suggest that the plane may have been bound for Tallahassee. We stress that crash investigators have not confirmed this information. The cause of the crash may not be known for weeks or months. Traffic has been snarled at the crash site for hours near Glades Road and Military Trail. We will bring you updates as more information becomes available. I'm here with David Cohen, Dean of Aeronautics at Lynn University. You had planes airborne the time of the crash. What was your initial thoughts?
So we did, Allison, and obviously the first thing we care about is the safety of our planes, our students, our instructors. And once we were able to sort of ascertain that, in fact, everybody was safe, we've got the capability to not only speak to them from radios on the ground, but we can also identify where they are. We had a number of them that were sort of out to the west of the Boca area. So rather than come back to Boca, we diverted them down to Pompano Airport, and they were able to come back at about 12:30 this afternoon once the Boca Airport reopened.
Wow, and how does an investigation like this progress?
It's very methodical. So as we speak, investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board, it's an independent investigative arm of the government, they're going to come down to Boca. They're going to have experts on various things associated with flight, whether it's the pilots, whether it's the mechanics, and they're going to pore over the wreckage as it currently exists right now at the crash site, identify angles, all kinds of mathematical calculations that are going to be made so they can help identify what caused it. Within about 24 hours of the team getting on the ground, they'll probably give a briefing that will identify the very basic facts. At 30 days, they'll then identify more facts as they learn them, but they still won't identify a cause. That can sometimes take a year, sometimes 2 years, depending on the complexity of the mishap itself.
Thank you so much for the information. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Please stay tuned for iPulse Live for more breaking news updates. Please stay tuned to iPulse Live website. Now, my co-anchor Swanson Gibson Jr. joins the stage.
Right, so thank you, Mr. We turn now to tariffs as the Trump administration escalates its trade war with China. All of this comes during a turbulent week for global markets. I talked today with Adam Abelson, Chief Investment Officer at Fisher Stralem in New York, about tariff impacts. Right, so thank you, Mr. Abelson, for taking time to speak with me regarding this issue. So, given your financial expertise, what are your thoughts on the tariff uncertainty that's been looming over the United States? What does this mean to the average viewer? What can they comprehend from the nature of the situation?
The bottom line is that tariffs are a tax on consumption. It's paid for by the businesses that are importing into the United States, and they are then therefore forced to raise prices. We're seeing this across the environment today. I'm a portfolio manager. I manage and invest in large cap U.S. Companies that are listed in the S&P 500. So this is sort of the top of the food chain in terms of businesses, and they are across the board right now not spending money. They're not hiring. In fact, a lot of them are laying people off. I think that will continue to. They're withdrawing guidance for their quarterly estimates, and I think this trend will continue as the tariff regime remains kind of opaque. Like, we don't really know what the point is. If it's to create jobs, well, it's the opposite of creating jobs. But more importantly, the U.S. consumes. We are 70% consumption based. And as prices go up, that's going to force people to decide what to consume, because there's going to be a lot less of it to consume for the same dollar amount.
We've seen China and the U.S. go at it the past few days. So what is the impact of these tariffs, not just on the U.S. economy, but the global scale?
Just thinking about the U.S. side of it for a second, over 70% of everything that you buy on Amazon is from China. So if we just laid down 100 and something percent tariff on China, Amazon ceases to function in the role that it serves. That's hundreds of thousands of jobs. So and not to mention again the what your ability to buy things. I think the biggest concern is the loss of the dollar as the currency. As China rises and more countries settle in Chinese yuan, that means they are going to actually grow their economy and their export business at the detriment of the United States, which is not surely what they intended. But again, I don't think this has been well thought out in terms of what's the end point, what's the end goal, because it's unclear what that is.
As a financial expert, what advice would you give to those who probably would have invested in Wall Street or 401ks? How do they ensure economic prosperity during a time like this?
Again, going back to the US dollar, that means that the US treasuries are also losing the sort of benchmark confidence that investors globally have always had. Often, if you trade with America, you take those proceeds and you buy treasuries. It's stable. It's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. Unfortunately, that particular government right now is less trustworthy than history would be comfortable with. If you buy McDonald's, those prices are going to go up, or they'll figure out how to make the product smaller for the same price, whatever the company's levers they use to remain profitable. So you still want to invest, and it's certainly not the time to run for the hills. That's for sure. I can't stress that enough. I've spoken to a lot of clients in the last couple of days who are very upset. There's not much to do. You just sit, you bear, you grin it. The world will continue on its axis, and you just wait, because these companies aren't going anywhere. They'll figure it out. That's why you invested in them, because they can figure out how to adapt to the hand that they've been dealt.
Regarding the impacts of tariffs, is there anything else you would like to speak on that we didn't quite decipher?
This loss of trust and stability is going to be very hard to regain in the period of time that I think we have. But the U.S. is still the largest, wealthiest country with the most resources in the world. The financial system as it exists globally was built by the United States. While we're certainly taking a self-inflicted gut punch to that fact, the reality is that there's no other place I'd rather be, live, and invest.
Mr. Abelson, thank you so much for your insight and just conversing with me for these few minutes. Thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure, anytime.
Economics 2 argue no one will be untouched by a global tariff trade war. They say higher costs for many of the things you buy every day will hit your budget, and the risk of recession is more likely. At Lynn University, students are the job force of tomorrow wonder what's happening now and what is next. Davendra Belbis checked in with them.
The Beachcomber in Deerfield Beach opened its doors 51 years ago.
Our companies, a lot of stuff they buy from China.
The store manager says she and her coworkers worry their business could become casualties of the tariff war.
Right now, with the tariff increasing significantly, people are, scared little to buy, and these are not necessary stuff. So people try to, used to, let's say if they spend $100, now they're literally spending less than $25.
Sales down, prices being driven up, caught up here by forces beyond their control.
My boss already scared so much because business is bad enough already. So now with all the increasing, the price, we don't think we will survive too long.
No one is immune from tariff impacts if they last a long time. I caught up with classmates on the Lynn University campus. They aren't worried yet.
I don't think it affects me right now. I don't really notice it that much, but I think I will in the future, especially when I'm off looking for apartments and have to pay for everything.
As college students, have the tariffs affected your spending habits or budgeting as a student?
I think that it's something that I'll keep in my mind, but it's something that I'm consciously thinking about right now. Maybe something I have to start thinking about in the future, but nothing I've been super focused on right now.
Watching, waiting, and for one longtime business hoping they can endure economic shockwaves being felt around the globe. I'm Davendra Belbis for iPulse TV News.
President Trump's policy on tariffs, immigration, federal budget cuts, and more have prompted protest rallies across the country this past week. That includes South Florida. Guillermo de Domenico went looking for perspective from both sides of the policy debates.
The Trump administration's policies are garnering strong reaction throughout the U.S., with dozens of hands-off protests taking place this past Saturday. I spoke with Matthew and Hannah Cass, who were a part of the hands-off demonstration in Boca Raton.
What they say is waste, fraud, and abuse. I think a lot of these, what they're saying is that it's just the programs they don't like, okay? That where's the validity? What kind of waste is there? You know, there was no investigation of it. Where was the documentation of the waste and the fraud and the abuse?
You want to be part of the people that are pushing back on some of the bad policy making to temper it and to make sure that we have a country that's where everybody can fit in, where everybody can achieve their life goals and they can lead healthy and prosperous lives.
To get a different perspective of these demonstrations, I spoke with Republican congressional candidate Raven Harrison, who sees these protests as futile.
This is a distraction from trying to unify. It is a distraction from what the real issue is right now. And the real issue is the American people deserve to know where the waste and the fraud and the corruption, doesn't matter which side they find it on, but we have got to get that out of our government if it's going to be working properly.
She argues demonstrators should instead be focused on the huge debt the U.S. has amassed.
The concern to me is our children and our grandchildren are going to be paying that debt for the foreseeable future. That's what we have to do. Is it's reckless spending. Again, I'm not assigning that to Democrat or Republican. I'm saying the government as a whole is only as strong as its weakest link. And us being in debt, we're borrowing money. This is unsustainable. And so the tariffs, we have got to get a fair trade balance.
This is part of an ongoing debate that has taken center stage in the U.S. Guillermo de Domenico reporting for iPulse.
We turn now to your important weather forecast for this week. The weather this week in Boca Raton has been quite unpredictable. Will it rain or will it be sunny? Here is Noah Barclay.
Hello, and thank you very much for the introduction. I appreciate it. Currently, the weather that we have right now is that we have no precipitation around. There's a little bit down over by Key West, but of course that's not going to affect where we are in Boca Raton. As you'll see on the next radar image right here, over on Sunday, we have these two high pressures that are going to really be taking up and clogging up all of the south, and especially it's going to be hovering over the middle of Florida. We also have one off the coast of Boca Raton, and that is going to affect any precipitation from coming in to Boca Raton. And as you'll see right here on the 7-day forecast, that is very much going to affect the rest of the week, because we may not even get a cloud really for this entire week going into next Thursday. It is going to start to heat up a little bit, but then it does start to kind of stay consistent. It goes up to all the way up to 84 after being in the 70s in the beginning, but then it drops down into 81. So it's going to be relatively warm, but it's not going to be hot, so it's going to be fine. But again, there is going to be that strong sun because of those high pressures that are going to be over South Florida. So it is going to be a very sunny week and a very great week for your graduation photos. I'm Noah Barclay. Thank you very much. Back to you guys.
Yesterday, Lynn had a finger-licking good event that was a massive hit. Students and faculty packed at Christine's Park, ready with a big appetite. It ended with lots of full bellies and big smiles. Reporter Lasekian gives us a taste.
I am here at Lynn University's 4th annual Barbecue Wars. It's a chance for the Lynn community to come together to try foods from 12 different countries. Let's go check it out. The smell of barbecue filled the air as sausages and briskets hit the grill. There were two food favorites, the Bahamian mac and cheese and the USA's pork belly burnt end tacos.
Bahamian mac and cheese has more herbs and a little bit more depth of flavor to it, a little bit more unique. Like well seasoned, it's flavorful, it's creamy, it's cheesy, it's lovely.
Lynn volleyball coach Travis Nichols tried out the pork belly tacos.
That was really good.
What's going through your mind right now?
It's just delicious. It's smoky, it's sweet, got a little bit of spice.
Barbecue Wars, where everyone was a winner.
The student culinary group got together and did a pork belly taco. And in fact, there's one of their dads is involved in it too. And it's all so good. It's hard to pick. I'm gonna eat it all.
The pork belly took 4 days to marinate and had a special seasoning of paprika, pepper, honey, and homemade barbecue sauce.
I personally literally rubbed the meat the other day myself when it was frigid cold and raw. It was a really cool experience.
Wow, what delicious food that you can just sink your teeth into. I'm Laseki Ann reporting for iPulse. Cheers.
Bigger Than Sports is a nonprofit organization that hosts sporting events where players pay to play. All proceeds go to high school students to help them get a head start on their college career. Bigger Than Sports hosted a flag football event last weekend. My co-anchor Allison Wallace was there.
We're currently here at the Bigger Than Sports event for an exciting, competitive 8-team flag football tournament. They are all here for one big reason. What are they competing for? They're competing for a better cause. Let's go check out the tourney.
I think what makes this event different is the size. We haven't hosted a tournament that was this big, that had this much community outreach, and it's all because of the community and the story behind it. And we even have an organization that we've been working with time and time throughout the year on their scholarship applications, their college applications, and not only are we doing that with their education, but we're helping them and impacting them and bringing them joy through sports. And that's what makes this tournament so much bigger, better, and different.
Players in each event pay to play for the tournament. Then the money raised goes to a high school student who has gone above and beyond throughout their time in the program. I asked players from different teams what does Bigger Than Sports mean to them and how this organization has impacted them.
It means a lot to us being able to just give back to the community and just trying to be a positive influence. It definitely means a lot for us.
To be honest, that's the only reason I'm here, is because it's for a greater good, and we're here, we're helping people that are in need, and there's no better feeling than that. And yeah, I mean, I get to go home today knowing that I changed a life, if not multiple.
It's family, honestly. Close to my heart. I played a lot of sports growing up. I do a lot of stuff at home with nonprofits, so this is amazing for me to get involved with the community.
The nonprofit to me, just basically, it's good that, everyone's out here just having a good time, moving forward and, just doing something better for the community. And that's all that matters. That's what these are about.
Bigger Than Sports, honestly, Bigger Than Sports is like I would say family. It gives me a sense of comfortability doing what I love to do, play sports. And also it's really good for the community to show that it's not just sports, Sports is a gateway to a lot of other things that, creates positive like memories and positive just actions, So just the community is amazing here, honestly.
One example of how Bigger Than Sports has helped young students lead into their careers is Ronald Godfrey, who is one of the recipients to a $500 check that will go towards his college education.
It's like if I were doing this by myself, I wouldn't get that. Bigger Than Sports has helped me achieve that goal, and I appreciate them.
What do you have to offer the world? It's a tough question, but recently, 2 enthusiastic Lynn students stood out at the Next Gen 2.0 workshop. They had extroverted personalities that fueled their desire to make a positive impact. Lisette Guillen has the story.
Justin, you gotta give me one. Yeah.
Although these 2 Lynn students are young, they have a fire in them that just can't be put out. Justin Vandeloo and Marichi Arya are 2 young sophomores at Lynn, but they don't use that as an excuse to answer the question of what they have to offer to the world.
I have to offer a life of service to give to others, and that is what I offer to this world, is my energy, my time, my body, my soul. It's been my dream ever since I was a kid to do it for the underdog, to do it for the people that don't know how to take the first step.
In his free time, Justin volunteers at retreats to give others words of encouragement, leads them in prayer, and offers support to the future generation.
I'm constantly revitalizing who I am what message I want to convey, how I can listen more.
Marici also feels like she has the responsibility of doing good in the world.
I have a very kind and giving spirit, so I'm always just making sure that I'm helping people in my personal life, in my professional life. I'm always making sure to take advantage of opportunities of working with social entrepreneurs, of volunteering with charities.
She recently participated in the community spirit race hosted by FAU. It was a 5K run that raised money for foster children, education, and food insecurity.
I just want to make sure that everyone has opportunities, that we're all equal, and just having community, having connection. That's the kind of thing I want to build for myself and for this world.
At the Next Gen workshop, Marici was a powerful figure for the crowd as she gave a passionate, impromptu speech about the importance of being social and putting in writing one's dreams.
The pen that Justin is going to use to write Justin's goals, because this is not just about what all of us can write individually, which is of course important because all of us came here to express our goals, but this is about what all of us can do together, because all of us showed up today. All of us showed up today.
Justin and Marici are two peas in a pod who use their positive energy to lend a hand in their community. I'm Lesekian, reporting for iPulse.
Reporter Delaney Smith sat down with Aline Sergani, a former CBS News correspondent, to discuss her perspective on the current state of investigative journalism and what it truly means to take a risk in pursuit of the truth.
How would you describe the current state of investigative journalism?
I'm concerned, frankly, about the state of journalism. The state of journalism, I believe, is in peril for many reasons, but I think that there is an opportunity for journalists now to provide everything that the public deserves to know and to provide the public service that I believe it to be. It is as important as anything else in the world. It is as important as anything else to our democracy. Journalism is a reflection of our democracy, and we are entitled as a country, as a people, as a profession, to have that ability to tell the truth.
And what kind of risks, personal, legal, professional, are investigative journalists taking when they're reporting on sensitive stories?
Well, I think that risk is a part of life. And I think that if the focus of an investigative journalist is what risk does this pose to me, as opposed to what does this investigative piece provide for answers, then I think maybe that person should consider doing something else. Journalism is such an important public service that the risks associated with that public service should pale in comparison to the responsibility that journalism provides. So I think that as long as a journalist is working with a set of standards and ethics, then that's the most important requirement.
And there's a perception that there is a growing anti-media bias with the Trump administration. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm concerned, frankly, because several news organizations have been targeted, and never before has that happened, truly. Surely that different administrations have balked at certain journalists or balked at the media as a whole, but there is a standard that as a democracy is extended to journalism, because journalism is a public service. And when an administration is dictating which journalists can or cannot be a part of public, then that's of concern.
What is your advice to young journalists who want to pursue investigative work but are hesitant to ask the tough questions to those of authority?
I think the hesitation will ease with experience. And I think that whatever it is that might hinder your work as an investigative story could also be turned around to benefit your piece. In other words, if a young reporter has fear or anxiety, as long as those are not part of a paralysis in moving forward with that work, use it to become more prepared for a story. Use it to become more curious about a story. Use it to be a student of what you are investigating.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ghani. I really appreciate your time.
Here's an interesting story from England. There is a musical orchestra that is getting rave reviews. It's not what you expect. It's an orchestra where the talented individuals play vegetables,
in a delightfully unexpected moment, King Charles III joined the London Vegetable Orchestra for an improvised performance that had everyone smiling. The king, known for his support of the arts, seemed amused as he played along. The London Vegetable Orchestra isn't your typical ensemble. Their instruments are all made from fresh produce. Carrot flutes, potato trumpets, even pumpkin percussion. Nothing is off the table. Believe it or not, all the members are professional musicians that graduated from the Royal Academy of Music, and from the last 10 years they have been gathering national attention. Their music is light-hearted, inventive, and entirely compostable. This little jam session gave us a rare glimpse of the monarch's fun side, and shine a spotlight on a group that proves music really can grow from the most unexpected places. Miguel Ángel García for iPulse.
Thank you for tuning in to our broadcast this afternoon.
We will see you next Friday.